Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave and another little Saturday morning market update, some trade ideas, some shorter term analysis as you get ready for the day because Bitcoin's been having all sorts of action. So let's get it without further ado. Let's get right onto these fucking charts. All right, great. Okay, awesome. And a big red dildo dump to open up the day. A nice spinning top doji-ish type dildo right here on decent volume to kind of lead off the day, closing a little bit in the red. But again, if you're in the technical analysis program, you already know what this means right here. That is a type of reversal-ish type dildo. And the fact that we have fall through to the downside so far is a little bit menacing right here. So with that said, what I'm looking for is I really want to see my first daily diddle closing below this yellow 20-minute exponential, which you can see both sides, both the bulls and the bears, posturing around this side. The bulls wanted to defend it, you know, down around here, and the bears wanted to defend it up here. A couple of doji dildos, or sorry, spinning top dildos, to kind of top it off over here, and then you know, bulls kind of picking it up slowly off the bottom as well. So both sides going after it. If we go down to lower time frames, though, you'll notice that very little has actually changed as we are still in. That's funny to say. Going to the lower time frames, very little has changed in comparison to the higher time frames. But it's kind of the truth. You're still in a broadening wedge bear flag, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Again, and very little has changed here. Bearish divergence on the tops from right here, and we talked about that yesterday, and it's just basically playing out right here. So you can see some nice lower lows on the oscillators, and your mournful stochastics down here actually timing you a perfect sell. By the way, stay tuned a little bit later today as I'm going to be releasing some new indicators that I'm extremely happy about, actually, because holy shit, they have been fucking working, my friends. Anyways, okay, so on the 4-hourly dildo chart, you can see that we have broken the 200 simple. We're kind of living below the 65.50 support that we talked about yesterday. So this area is broken. It's broken, and if it's broke, you buy it. No, you don't fucking buy it. You sell it. And that is not financial advice. But what I am saying is, hey, you did break this 65.50ish support with decent enough force to me. And while you are still in the confines of this broadening wedge, bear flag, whatever the fuck you want to call it, and I don't want to be getting too damn, you know, aggressive with this, we do have now resistance right around 65.50 as former support turns in resistance and vice versa. So really, the way that I see it right now, yes, you do have support right around here, this area right around here, 1, 2, 3, yep, good. Sorry, that'd be right around about 63.70ish area on Finex. The ultimate support of this formation right here is around 63.20ish area. So as long as that's kind of holding up, I don't really want to be too bearish on it. Just like as long as, you know, you're below this area right here, I don't want to be too bullish on it. Now, this upper resistance right here at around 6,900 is pretty damn important because not only is it, you know, the upper resistance of this, you know, formation, but it's also a nice horizontal. You can see from past prior action, just this area over here, it's like perfectly lining up with it. Oh, you gotta love that. That's beautiful. But it's also your daily 100 exponential. This cyan line right around here. And also your 2-day 55 exponential is going to start to hook around over there as well. But my 2-day dildo chart over here is now starting to be a little bit menacing to me as well in the posturing that it has, kind of shoving us back down below this yellow 21 exponential. The fact that both sides cannot really get you know, like a good dildo close above either side is going to start to make me lean towards the downside just because you do have the death cross over here. So the higher time frames are showing some downwards pressure, as again the only other time we ever have a death cross on the 2-day dildo chart in the overall history in Bitcoin's almost 10-year history was right over here in 2014, which, by the way, look at this in 2014. Funnily enough, in 2014, or maybe not funnily enough if you are a bull, you actually were in a broadening wedge as well. And, you know, I'm going to go back on over here to Finex to show this one, just draw this one out. As, you know, okay, so again, here's your death cross right there, but you'll notice that you do have a very similar formation. Now, again, it's, you know, you can't make technical analysis or historical analysis in like a one-to-one fashion. That's very misleading. That's a very naive thing to do. I know a lot of analysts will represent things like that way, and that's not something that I believe in. It's not something that I think can be done. It's extremely misleading is what I'm trying to get at. But the way that the oscillators are working, the way that the way that our moving averages are working, and the way that our price action is kind of consolidating within this area, and very a lot of very similar things over here, is in a way applicable to kind of look at over time. As again, it gives us insight into what like the bots and the algos are doing within this market, and over time, the price action does kind of like smooth out to represent their actions essentially. So again, the fact that we are kind of selling down after the test of this upper resistance right here, not necessarily the best sign. But again, until you actually break this level right here, again, 63, let's just call it 6,300 to kind of round down and make it easy. As long as you're kind of living above there, I really don't want to get too damn bearish. Although it is starting to look more and more like this is coming under a lot of pressure. Again, your weekly is going to be very important because you do start a new week tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It is here Saturday in Helsinki, Finland at 10 a.m. So yeah, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow for me. Maybe it's still in yesterday for you. But yes, this 55 exponential right here in the green the green 55 and the yellow 21 exponential are in damn near danger of getting crossed. And if Bitcoin is unable to rally back above about 7,100, where that green 55 is, you will get that cross. If not this week, it will happen next week if price action fails to get above, although it looks extremely likely to happen this week. And again, the only other time we have an example of this happening in the almost 10-year history of Bitcoin was right over here in 2014. Very similar formation as well, which did send you to your ultimate red dildo capitulation death. Now I do want to say this as well though. Even if 6350 is broken, I actually don't want to get too damn bearish either, just because the 6150 support has been so damn staunch, and betting against this support right here has not been profitable. This guy right around here is what I'm referring to, right around, I guess it's a little bit under 6200 and a little bit above 6150, so like 6175, but that's hard to say really fast. So fuck it. I'm just gonna call it 6150. So as long as you're above there, I don't want to get like too damn bearish thinking new lows, but if you do break this 6300 level, this 6300 support, then it's going to start to look a lot more like Problem City, USA, population butt fucked EU. And because this is a variation of a bear flag, and again, is it a bear flag? Is it not? It's technically not, because it's not fully parallel, but let's just kind of make the assumption that it is, be a little bit, artists instead of scientists. If we make a measure move off that, well, that would be pointing us all the way down here to about 5,100-ish area, which would make sense from this past prior action right around here. That's your next big support. But again, 6,150 is kind of like my doomsday scenario. As long as you're above 6,150, I think that you're generally safe. The second that you break 6,150, everything comes into question. Now, of course, you would likely have support along the way. I mean, you're probably not going to go down in one full blow. You got this guy right here at about 60.50. Not a super strong support, but maybe a little bit of bouncage. 5850 or 5800, 5850 is where you start to get to like your last big support. You'll obviously have 55 right around here, and after that there's really not much holding you up from this 5,000-ish area to like high 4,000-ish area, and then you start getting into this area over here. Now if we do add the good old volley profile over here and get the visible range on and flying around, you'll see, hey, this actually agrees with it a lot. You kind of like lose your structural integrity after this high volume node right here, and then there's very little holding you up from this like mid to low 4,000s area actually. So while you would likely bounce around, I do believe that Bitcoin would find comfort somewhere in this range if it were to break that area. So again, major fucking assumption being made. Major fucking assumption being made. You have to break 6150 with force, and well, a few more of these guys on the way down. But that's what I'd kind of be looking at that point in time. That is what I'd be leaning towards. But again, that's my opinion. At the end of the day, you have supports and resistances, and that's really the only way that I trade. I try not to trade my opinion. We talked about this the other day, but I just want to kind of point this out once again. I know a lot of people are getting really bullish off of the action of a couple days ago where Bitcoin had like a $200 rally. It's going back to the moon, 8,000 next week. Well, maybe it does. You got a compound Fulcrum bottom, which actually is correct. Like Peter Brandt is not like, he's not making shit up when he talks about that, but it's also like, this is a very rare thing. It happens extremely rarely. So it could be possible. It does look like one, but does it play out? Well, They do have a high degree of play now. Anyways, so in this bear flag formation, you do have this very orderly drop off in volume, and even though a lot of people are getting really bullish off of that move yesterday, this guy, or I guess it was a day and a half ago now, this green dildo kind of leading up over here. Look at the volume over here in comparison to what we were doing before. It's very minuscule, is my point. It's very minuscule. So in order to like change around a full on market phase, I would be leaning against it. So I'm going to get this off right here. And again, just notice the orderly drop off in volume as well. I mean, that's, it's by no mistake that you can like quite literally put a trend line right through here. 1, 2, 3, three touches makes a trend. That is important. If you are to break this area right here on heavy volume, kind of poking up above this area right here, analogous to that area, that's when I start to be saying, all right, 6150, this is going to be the test. This is going to be the test. Pretty damn clear. Let's do the daily rounds of the accumulation distribution indicator, as I really do like this one for overall kind of trend confirmation, and I need to actually like get it on first. Get off there, volume profile. You're worthless. Sorry, you're not worthless. I actually do really like it, but I want to look at my accumulation distribution indicator. And this is let's go to the daily. Let's do the daily rounds. So the daily is actually still sloping up, but you can see it's starting to lose its slope a little bit, but that's not a death sentence at all whatsoever. That's still okay. The 2-day is still sloping up, so that's good. So the daily and the 2-day are sloping up. And what does that tell us? That tells us that in the more recent times, it's you could very easily see some upside to come. Now the 3 days where it gets a little bit tricky because you are very aggressively sloped to the downside. So that's where I say, okay, let's kind of adjust the expectations over here, because it does seem to me that it's likely to come into pressure soon, and the weekly is even more so. And again, closing a new one tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is aggressively sloped to the downside. And the really bad one, the one that really makes me scared, is this guy right here. The good old monthly. This is the monthly, and yes, we do get a new month. I don't know, either tomorrow or the next day. I don't know how many days there are in September. It's like 30 or 31, or maybe there's 32. Finally, there should be 32s in one. There should be 32 days in 1 month, just because, to really fucking confuse people. So you can't do that damn knuckle thing. I know how many days are in the month. It's like, all right, fucking congratulations. I have a phone. Anyways, yes, extremely aggressively sloped to the downside. By the way, this prior one over here, this is actually 2014. If I actually put on the chart over here, you'll see this was 2014, and in the same sort of posturing, this was right before you broke that yellow 21 exponential. Very, very similar to what you were doing over here. Or could be doing over here. And again, the yellow 21 exponential on the monthly dildo time frame, especially coming from my background as an equity options market maker and on major exchanges. I always tell that story. Sorry guys, just probably annoying by now. But it basically gives me like the overall direction. Like, are we generally bullish or generally bearish? And the fact that that Bitcoin is like kind of coming to base around this area once again with that oscillator in that sort of position is not necessarily a sign of strength. In fact, you can see all of the phases of the market cycle right here so far. Putting on the 10 simple moving average over here. Basically, we are lassoed around by this 10 simple moving average, just like you were in 2014, dancing around this yellow 21 exponential moving average. And you started your bull run with, what is this? A big, major volume dildo thrusting up above this yellow 21 exponential, and then continuation onwards and upwards, culminating in this tweezer top dildos right here on heavy volume. Consolidate between 6,000 and 12,000 right here, resolve that to the downside, and we've just been drifting on a very low volume drift consolidation along this yellow 21, which is not a sign of strength in my experience. And it's officially coming in around 6,100. If you do lose that, if you do close a monthly dildo below that, it's a big problem. If you close it above it, it's not necessarily out of the woods just yet. We'll talk about that in a second, what would be out of the woods. But again, the way that it's kind of positioned right now does not look strong to me. And again, if it does break the yellow 21 exponential officially, then the blue 30 simple is kind of where I'd be aiming my cannons, which is right around that mid 4,000s range that we just spoke about. Okay, so let's go back over here to Finex, put these guys on. Maybe we'll actually take a few off because I want to get naked. No, well, yeah, let's do that. Actually, it's fun. Okay, so let's put on this horizontal right here again. This one's still the base, still the one. Stupid. Anyways, okay, so it looks like Bitcoin is working on a descending triangle within a descending triangle. Again, the bigger one is just this guy over here. I'll draw it later. But the smaller descending triangle is what I'm paying special attention to, because this one is damn full. This one's ready to burst either which way. Now it isn't a more typically bearish consolidation. Doesn't mean it's always going to break to the bear side, but it certainly is more statistically likely to do that. So hey, you know, if you do break above this area right here, 68.50, well then it's been resolved to the upside. And if you do resolve a typically bearish formation to the upside, that is an incredible sign of strength. So that would make me a little bit interested in taking a long position. But really, I don't get too interested until you start taking out this level right here, this prior high at around 73.50, which would also coincide with taking out your purple 200 exponential. And if we put on the red 200 exponential as well, you're going to notice that, you know, getting above that area would be certainly a medium term change of behavior. So that'd be pretty damn impressive. I'd be a lot more interested in taking some big longs right around there. And if Bitcoin started getting above 8,000, I'd be very interested. And here's my slap in the face signal that if Bitcoin were to kind of pick itself up from the ground right now and just rally up all the way, if it could start closing some dildos above 10,000-ish area, I would say, hey, I don't believe that Bitcoin is going lower anytime soon. And this thing looks overall good to me, and I don't want to be short at all anymore. I probably wouldn't even be short after this area over here. I would kind of be playing it safe. Now, of course, as promised, the bigger descending triangle over here is getting fuller by the day. And again, whenever these things get about this full, they are subject to blow at any given moment. So again, these are the things to be aware of right now. Going back into the lower time frames, let's just talk about a few more perhaps trades ideas. RSI, this is let's go to the 4-hour actually. Okay, so 4-hour RSI, just getting into the bear zone right now. You're seeing that it's kind of testing the outer region of it, but we're gonna find out really quick if it does want to kind of spend some time down here. Again, it is working against current resistance right around here, right around 65.50-ish area. And it's actually, as always, things are, you know, a zone, right? So it's like this area right here. As long as you're below this area right here, pressure is on. Your next big support is well, you do have support right around here, which you did kind of wick down to earlier. So if you do break this area, where's your next big support? Well, that would be right around here, right around 63.60-ish area. So perhaps a nice trade to be made off of that. And if you do break above this area right here, well, where would I be looking? Your next big resistance would be somewhere right around here, it looks like. Yeah. Also lining up with your red 200 simple moving average. But you look at your stochastics over here. Stochastics pointing down on the 4-hour and just kind of opening up. My RSI getting in the bear zone. And my proprietary stochastics over here kind of signaling, hey, we're shifting things a bit over here. And sorry, if you were to break the 63.50-ish area right here, I really don't see much holding you up from, you know, 62.30-ish area. Could be another support, and then officially 61.50 is like the last chance for love in the way that I talk about it. But again, this should all be represented within the confines of this as well. If we want to put a formation name on it, you'll notice that all of these kind of do align as you see them crossing at critical junctures. So yeah, what else do we have to talk about? Let's go over the different time frames and their oscillators really quick. I'm going to get rid of these and just kind of leave these in there. So those are the shorter term ideas. Okay, so 8-hour stochastics are just kind of like they're trying to get into the bullish zone, but you can see them start to lose a little bit momentum. 8-hour RSI heading back into it's not necessarily in the bear zone, but it's in the neutral zone. So not too much to say about that. What about 12-hour? 12-hour stochastics gave you a fake out, and this can certainly happen. When you get into the neutral zone, you typically will find a little bit of support, and then look, we're turning back down. The 12-hour does not look good. This looks like a rejection. This looks like a spinning top dildo or a doji-ish dildo, a long-legged doji, whatever the fuck you want to call it. A sign of indecision and reversal. And when you do have fall through like this, that does look like reversal, and especially on the daily, also represented very well on the daily. Your daily stochastics opened down, they never even got crossed up. And my daily RSI is basically consolidating between the bear zone and the neutral zone. So we've been talking about this for a while. It's, you know, I really need to see my daily start closing dildos back above 6,600 really in order for me to be even, you know, excited. But again, that's an opinion type thing. You know, at the end of the day, technical analysis is saying, well, It's okay. You know, it's okay until you break this area right here, really 6150. But again, you know, your daily right here, just looking at nothing but this, you have a nice big fat spinning top right here on decent volume in comparison to the relative volume. But again, you know, overall, it's just consolidationary volume. At the end of the day, when you look at this right here, it's just, you know, that's that very obvious fall off. You know, it's almost like you can just draw a trend line on it. It's beautiful. But again, I want to see where the daily diddle closes, but you do have follow through on this guy right here. It's not necessarily heavy volume just yet, and it is a weekend trading time, so not necessarily my most favorite times to be really trading, to be honest with you. But hey, it does hold merit, of course. As anything, I want to quickly go into the 1 hour before we finish this off. Yeah, 1 hour suggests that we might have a test back around 6550-ish area, but again, remember that is your next kind of resistance zone. If I wanted to shove a little rectangle in there, maybe you do get a BART. I mean, BARTs do fucking happen in this market. You are getting some bullish divergence off the bottom right here, no doubt about it. So we could very well have a test in this area right here. If you do get above 6550, 6560, I don't see much stopping you from this area right here, 6650. And if things get a little bit crazier, then again, you know, your up resistance right here at around 6800, you know, is certainly within the cards. So again, those are the different scenarios that I kind of am looking at right here right now. Those are the different trades ideas that I'm pondering over. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll see you in a live stream near you soon. Take care.